All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Dave Wilson of Results Staff, social media. Hey, quick show about discussing overqualified, underqualified, and some of the ghosting with recruiters, and just a couple also things on social media. But we'll be right back after this. All right. Good evening, everyone. Dave Wilson. Hey, tonight I wanted to discuss just I put three up, two ideas here, and some of the stuff that happened today with some of the calls with candidates. And one of the questions today, one of the candidates, and it's really hard to answer. It's, they didn't hire me because they feel I'm overqualified or you're underqualified. It's a good question because you don't really know right nowadays with everything going on. You don't want to be like a bias and say like, well, we don't want to hire him because he's overqualified or he or she, candidate. It doesn't make sense. You don't know why the person's applying for the job. So you got to try to think differently now than when we were back in 2 years ago or a year and a half, whatever, So today's day, you really got to sit back. Oh, we have Tubia. Hey, Tubia, what's up, boss? All the way in Florida, Mr. Tubia Lynn. What's up? It's been a long day, Tubia. Long day over here. It's only 70-some degrees. I'm sure it's about 90 where you're at. But what I try to tell them is like, still apply for it. Ask why. You don't have nothing to lose, but to ask why you didn't get the interview, or do you feel you're overqualified? Again, you don't know the circumstances of your candidate. They could have been let go, furloughed. They were a general manager. Now they're applying for a supervisor's position. You don't know. So either way, take the opportunity to interview them. Interview the candidates. Regardless, listen, today's world, you better grab those candidates when you can. You have to interview them. Don't just assume by their resume that they're overqualified or underqualified. That's the main subject. So, if you look at it this way, if you bring on somebody that's, say, overqualified, let's just say, right? Everybody says, well, their person could come in and take their job, right? Oh, we don't want to hire, they could take our jobs. I'm nervous, They could probably teach you some things. They've been in that position before, Oh, here's a good one. There's Daryl. How are you this evening? 73. It's about the same thing, Daryl, over here. He's over in Texas. Overqualified now. Gary, I'm going to leave that one out. That's a good one. But it's the truth. It's the truth. Age discrimination and, experience, like I've always said, experience versus non-experience, But you got to give that person a chance. You can't just set them to the side, because if you're short-staffed and you're not getting your job done, you're not billing, that's on you. I personally like someone overexperienced and someone under, like right in the middle. They're a good candidate. Talk with them, interview them, because you might learn something. You might learn something that, wow, the resume didn't say that. So don't overlook that stuff. And then, when you see they want to grow, they've been in that position before, so they can only excel you by new ideas. Think about it. Somebody you're going to bring in that's experienced, has 25 years experience. could bring ideas that you've never utilized before. And I'm sure everybody agrees on that, because it does. I'm going to leave that there. It means you're old, but it's old school versus new school. Social media, grassroots, same thing. Social media is new, grassroots old, but you mix them together, you're going to win. And especially when I was looking over here for manufacturing, they are taking a hit around here. There's no candidates. The skill set level, running machines, operating, manufacturing is coming back. So that's a new position to get into for candidates. And you're going to have to train. You are going to have to train for manufacturing. Gary, I'm going to go back to yours again. I'm 54. I don't care what everybody is my age. I'm 54. But we started out in manufacturing after the military. You didn't have to have experience. You went into the paper industry. You bid your jobs. Everyone taught you how to run the machines. Simple. You learned, and you don't see that much more that often. But they need to start some training classes. I've said it before. I know it sounds silly, but you have a room, a space where you could set some tables and chairs up. Have some training classes after work, or during the work hour, like 1 hour. You can do it. It's just an excuse if you say no, because you're going to have to teach and train some of the new candidates coming into the market. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. And I know Daryl knows that out in Texas. When candidates reach out to us, they say they've never heard nothing back also. So that's one of the discussions I wanted to talk about, is the ghosting. You didn't respond back to the candidate. That's overqualified or underqualified. Send them an email. Send an email to the candidates that you've given an interview to. Send them. That person can go home. You got to reverse the roles. That person can go home and think, wow, I'm excited. I think I have the good skills to get this job. Then they don't hear anything. It doesn't take much. Just pick up the phone or email. People just don't like to do it. They don't like to answer the hard questions, or, you can text the person nowadays if you don't. At least give them something to go by. Just the culture. And Daryl, you know what I mean by this, and Tuvia and everybody, is you need to get on social media every single day. There's Bob. Ghosting is the new norm. Bob, and you're correct. I've had it happen to me numerous times. You really thought you had that job. Nothing was in your way. And then something happened. And you don't know why. Do you send an email? Do you follow up? You can follow up. But if they have not reached out to you within 3 to 4 days, you didn't get it. I mean, it's just reality. They're not going to call you. But that's where it leads into the company culture. I taught all the time. That's what I mean, Daryl. And I always want to say back in the day, that's the way you learned. We would bid different jobs. You didn't have to know a forklift. You didn't have to know a laminator, how to run a paper machine. They train you for 2 to 3 weeks that you would be side by side with a person. Then when you're done, you did the job. If you couldn't do it, you were pulled off the job. So, listen to this right here and just take the time to teach people. You have to do it. And the other thing what I wanted to talk about is, like, now you have hospitality, you have restaurants, theme parks, sports facilities opening up, small businesses, waitresses, customer service reps. You're going to have college letting out, even though it's homeschool maybe, or, online, they're going to be looking for work. You're going to have a whole new group of people coming in, so the schools, high school seniors, that are graduating right now, that aren't going to college, you're going to have a bunch of people coming into the workforce. And let me see what Daryl said here. They say that you grow when you're uncomfortable. Avoiding the difficult conversation is a time for both sides to learn. I'm going to leave that one right up there. I like that one. And again, if you read that, they say that you grow when you're uncomfortable. Avoiding the difficult conversation is time for both sides to learn. That's priceless what you said there. But when you have all this new workforce coming in within this next, what is it, April, May, June, right around another month and a half, I would go after them. Reach out to the schools now. Reach out to the schools. If you're allowed to stop somehow, if you can go in, send emails on LinkedIn, anybody, the trade schools, they need to do a internship. Some companies won't take them. They need to graduate. We had 3 of them here. You could teach them every single thing that you learned to them, and it was very valuable, and they learned a lot. But this is all these new work people coming in right now, this next month and a half, and you're not on it now, you're behind. You're going to be behind because there's somebody out there right now reaching out to those colleges, reaching out to those high schools. It don't take much. You call, you want to speak to a guidance counselor, anything. Tell them who you are. You're a staffing company. You're a corporation. We're looking for workers. The worst thing that's going to happen, they say no, right? So when I look at that, and also for the high schoolers and everything, you want to target them. You want to target all the social media, everybody on social media, but you want to get your message to those candidates. So again, post every day, consistency. I cannot say it enough. Listen, again, I tell people about doing videos. Do I want to do them at 9 o'clock at night? I like doing them at 9 because it fits me. Some people will wait 4, 5, 6 days, a week later, and you lose everybody. You lose, like, who's this guy or who's this young lady on video, or corporation? Who are they? So then when you need somebody in that field, like Tuvia does staffing for over in Florida, for New Jersey and New York, you're going to see him a lot on LinkedIn. We like each other's stuff. We comment on everybody's post because you want to get your name and you need to make noise to get yourself out there. Get yourself out there. I like my military background, and I like the ring of hire. Think about it. Somebody scrolling through LinkedIn, when they see this red like flames, it's eye-catching. It is. When you scroll and you see that background, it's intense. So find what works for you. The military background that I utilize after this and versus, the green screen, that's the way to do it. A lot of companies right now, corporates, I don't see the green screens. They don't utilize it. And I say this respectively, but corporations, everybody gives an excuse. Well, we can't do that because corporate says no. Well, we can't do that. Now corporate will say no. Don't stop doing that. You don't know that corporate will say no. How do you know within the first 30 seconds, if I give you an idea, if I was part of your team and I said, hey, why don't we do green screen? Nope, can't do that. Why? You got to have some good lights to get a lot of good visuals. It's not expensive. Some really good lighting. You learn on YouTube. I got like 20 lights on this right back here. It's intense. But if you had your company right now, think about it. Like even Tuvia, if you had the background of your company right now and you were talking, they're going to see that. That's all it is. Reach out to your staff and say, hey, does anybody like videos? Does anybody out there, do you like to talk about our company on a video? You're going to get somebody because people like to do things like this. The millennials, they love videos. Again, TikTok, whatever you want to call that thing. That's not me, but you know what? I've seen some good ones. I've really seen some good TikTok ones. Tuvia, that's what you should do, TikTok. Get up there and do some dancing and everything like that. But think about that. Don't just, corporate says no. Reach out, send an email, and copy your team. Send an email to your VP, copying your team, asking the question. If they say no, corporate says no, just move out. Just do the next one. Go above the boss. Just say, hey, I got something like that, People like to be famous, see? And again, I'm going to leave that right there. You get a good candidate that one of your employees, you go out there on that floor and say, hey, does anybody want to do a green screen? We're going to buy some equipment. talk about our companies. Let's interview people. That will work. I'm telling you. What's this? Belly dancing. People will pay me just Tubia on TikTok. That would be really great for TikTok, Tubia. I'd pay for that. I'll pay for that. But talk to your candidates, employees, and check it out. It doesn't hurt. From LinkedIn, the social media, the YouTube, Pinterest, all of them. Try it. It's worth it. Next one. The human resources are not, I'm going to say it again. Everybody in human resources, you know what I mean. Monday came around, Tubia, I put that posting out. And I feel sorry for human resources. I really do. Because they're not doing the job that they were hired to do half the time anymore. They're not recruiters. Human resources didn't go to college or school or classes to be a recruiter. Maybe they've changed a little bit, but I don't think so because they don't want to do it. I don't blame them. They get 20,000 calls a day for staff agencies. People are like ourselves, they don't want to hear from you. When they want you, they'll tell you, they'll come after you, but they should be working with people, period. Human resources is named human resources for a reason, to scare the living hell out of you. I think everybody agrees there. You don't get called into human resources department because you're doing a good job. Never happens. Never in my life. It never has. The only time I was ever called into human resources is because something did happen, and they're either going to write you up, they're going to put you on a PIP, or they're going to have your team members and you have to write them up. But seriously, HR needs to they'll be glad if they could take away staffing because they don't need it. Let them concentrate on the candidates. Next one is, I've tried to tell people what could you do differently to get candidates in, and even manufacturing. Look, I got Tubia. HR needs to have a degree in psychology. Tubia, that's a good question. I'm not sure if some of them might. I'm not sure about how it works anymore with schooling for an HR courses, but that's a good one because they handle people's problems. Again, that's why they call it human resources, not recruiter, human resources. So, but what I wanted to talk about now is if you find a workforce positions at home, right? So you're at home, you're offering jobs to come back in the office or work from home. You got to be, and you're going to start getting candidates that come in saying, well, listen, can I work 2 days a week at home? Because they're coming back into the workforce. You're going to have to, if you're able to do things like this, you're going to have to try to work with some of the candidates to get back in to the back into the corporations. You need to. Some of them won't take the jobs because of the shifts, or maybe 2 days a week because summertime is coming. And let me tell you, that means the kids are out of school, right? For instance, my son that we sent to the YMCA for summer camp, we're hoping to get him in there, but they've cut that in half. So now, and the grandparents also could watch the kids, but everything's still, if they haven't gotten their shots, boom. So again, they're going to be sitting at home, and sometime we're coming in the near future, you're going to get them to start coming back into the workforce. You're going to have candidates that have been out for a whole year that are coming back in because they've been taking care of the kids. So, Daryl's got something here. HR are there to ensure company compliance with employment regulation and law degrees, not psychology. You're right, Daryl. There's so many different things that come into it because if you're not in compliance, boom, that's what HR needs to know that. And a majority of them really do, but they're just they're just bogged down with staffing and recruiting, and you can see it. You can see it when you talk to them. They don't want to talk to you when you reach out to them. They don't. I won't get into it and keep going on that, but so look at the summertime as another hurdle, how you're going to pivot. How are you going to get those candidates now from the schools to the colleges to the people that are coming back into the workforce? Right now in the Lehigh Valley, there's still over 7,000 jobs, but you don't have anybody to fill them. And that's from customer service, Hospitality is going to have a hard time this year. A lot of the stores are closed. They're not running on a night shift. Wawa has closed down on night shift. McDonald's, only a drive-through. No more going in to eat. They can't find people because of the pay rates. And that's another subject. But you're going to have all kinds of candidates. So what I'm saying there is interview them. Don't always assume, because a lot of these can save you a lot of headache over the summertime, because it is going to get horrible. If you think it's hard now for staffing, it's going to be worse. It's going to be a long summer. And the hourly rate is going to have to level off. You know, you're not going to go higher. There's no way that they're going to pay $25 to $28 an hour for logistics. It's not going to happen. So I'm hoping that it kind of balances soon. You know, maybe, you know, we always said that $15, $16 range, people up on the 20 something, that might just come back and balance it, because it's got to stop. It's got to stop at some point, because you're never going to afford anything. You're never going to afford in the fast food. You're never going to afford in the hospitality. The theme parks, they're not having people working because they can't pay. They were only paying $11 an hour, 10 or 11. Now their kids don't want to work for that. I don't blame them, but it's because everybody keeps putting these bonuses and thousands of dollars, thousands, and attendance bonus. You're paying people to come to friggin' work. But can you imagine, Daryl, if you got paid to go to work for 2 weeks, you're going to get paid $1,000 friggin' dollars. I had one company, I am not kidding you. This is a serious, I can say, is a staffing company. Now, they're not paying for it. They advertise by saying, hey, it's $15 an hour, but if you're waiting for that stimulus check, we're going to give you $300 a week for the next 4 weeks plus your salary. What the hell? They're going to pay you $300. Can you imagine? Do that with 25 employees. What the cost? Because the staffing companies aren't paying for that. They're billing the client. There's no way a staffing company can absorb that. The companies can, but it's going to really knock the living hell out of them when they're doing that. $300. That's $1,200 per employee. And if they have 25 positions, you can do the math. Can you imagine what that product is going to cost? That was not in their P&L. Listen, with P&Ls right now, I don't even know how to estimate. You're really going to have to take a really hard look at that. But one more thing that I wanted to talk about is, the supply and demand. Look on your insights. Go to your job boards, type it in there. Look, you have 8,000 jobs. You got 867 people to choose from. I don't know. You keep putting all that money up. I've even seen them to where, you work, you get, work 3 weeks to get, or 4 weeks to get $1,000. Even that. Sign-on bonuses of $500, referral bonuses of $100. It's just non-stop. So that's all I really wanted to talk about tonight. So, ghosting, try to reach out to the candidates, supply and demand, try to tap into the kids at high school right now that are graduating. That's a lot of people coming out of schools. Also the trade schools, do some training. Don't say no right away that corporate says no. Reach out, send emails, and just communicate. And I think some of this it'll help you. So on that note, everybody, thanks everybody for being on the show. And I always like to end it with this video. See everybody soon.